It is Wednesday. All right, we're going to keep rolling on with our material from yesterday. So we had just started talking about levers, and we talked about first-class levers. Now we're talking about second-class levers. And with the second-class lever, the load is located between the fulcrum and the effort force. Common examples of second-class levers include nutcrackers, wheelbarrows, doors, and bottle openers. A second-class lever does not change the direction of force. When a fulcrum is located closer to the load than to the effort force, an increase in force mechanical advantage results. All right, let's take a look here. So our restrictive force, our load, which is here, is between the fulcrum and our effort. Our effort force, right? I had that right. Just want to double check. All right. Our effort force, which is here. So this multiplies our effort force, but it does not change its direction. Okay, so effort moves farther than resistance. So you have to move your effort force further to get your resistance force, or your resistance force to go further. Yes. All right, third-class lever. With a third-class lever, the effort force is applied between the fulcrum and the resistance force. So examples of third-class levers include tweezers, hammers, and shovels. A third-class lever does not change the direction of force. A third-class levers always produce a gain in speed and distance and a corresponding decrease in force. All right, so we see our effort force over here. We see our resistance force here. So effort force is between the fulcrum and the resistance force, which is a load. It does not multiply force. Resistance moves farther than effort. All right, multiplies the distance, the effort force travels. So like they said, a hammer. So your hand would be here at the R on the right-hand side, and then where the hammer is hitting, the nail would be over here where the force and the effort force is. All right. We're going to hop onto a wheel and axle. The wheel and axle is a simple machine consisting of a large wheel rigidly secured to a smaller wheel or shaft called an axle. When either the wheel or axle turns, the other part also turns. One full revolution of either part causes one full revolution of the other part. All right. A lot of us have probably seen a wheel and an axle. Let's hop onto a pulley. A pulley consists of a grooved wheel that turns freely in a frame called the block. A pulley can be used to simply change the direction of a force or to gain a mechanical advantage, depending on how the pulley is arranged. A pulley is said to be a fixed pulley if it does not rise or fall with the load being moved. A fixed pulley changes the direction of a force. However, it does not create a mechanical advantage. A movable pulley rises and falls with the load that is being moved. A single movable pulley creates a mechanical advantage. However, it does not change the direction of a force. The mechanical advantage of a movable pulley is equal to the number of ropes that support the movable pulley. All right, so we have the pulley here. This is just a few diagrams for us to look at here. We have a simple fixed pulley here in this diagram here. So a first-class lever that changes the direction of force. A pulley is a wheel that turns around an axle. Here's our axle, which is the fulcrum. Here's our resistance force. Here's our effort force. There's our mounting bracket. We also have a movable pulley. There's a turning second-class lever that offers a gain in force. Pulley moves along the rope. And then we have our compound pulley, which is a combination of fixed and movable pulleys. There's about 100 kilogram effort on one rope because we have more ropes involved. An inclined plane is an even sloping surface. The inclined plane makes it easier to move a weight from a lower to higher elevation. All right, so we have our inclined plane here. Length or effort distance, we have our height or resistance difference. So our mechanical advantage is length over height. And then some examples you might think of an inclined plane is that, let's say you have to lift a fridge up onto a deck that's 3 feet tall. Instead of having to lift the fridge right up onto the deck, you would maybe set some plywood out, so you'd have an inclined plane, so that way you're increasing your length or effort distance, and that would actually also, you'd have the same height, but with that effort distance being lesser, there is less effort that has to be put in. All right, inclined plane. The mechanical advantage of an inclined plane is equal to the length of the slope divided by the height of the inclined plane. While the inclined plane produces a mechanical advantage, it does so by increasing the distance through which the force must move. So our mechanical advantage is our length, which is the slope, over our height, which is over here on the right. So our length is 15, our height is 3. Mechanical advantage, length of 15 over 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. That is our mechanical advantage. Although it takes a less force for car A to get to the top of the ramp, all the cars do the same amount of work. So every car here is doing, their forces have to be different because, as you'll see, we have a steeper incline, so a greater angle. Their displacement is all the same, so their work is all equal. All right. So an inclined plane, a wagon trail on a steep hill will often traverse back and forth to reduce the slope experienced by a team pulling a heavily loaded wagon. This same technique is used today in modern freeways, which travel winding paths through steep mountain passes. If any of you play racing games or anything, especially even in real life though, in Europe, a lot of times you will see roads that zigzag back and forth. Again, that is because instead of making one steep long pass, instead you'll kind of wind back and forth. That way there's less effort having to be put in. Wedge. The wedge is a modification of the inclined plane. Wedges are used as either separating or holding devices. A wedge can either be composed of one or two inclined planes. A double wedge can be thought of as two inclined planes joined together with their sloping surface outward. So what is the wedge here? It is the axe here. So the axe is those two inclined planes put together. They can wedge into the wood, and then they can split the wood that way. And a screw is also a modified version of an inclined plane. Well, this may be somewhat difficult to visualize. It may help to think of the threads. So you got to think about the threads of the screw as a type of circular ramp or inclined plane. So essentially a screw is, if you think about the threads, they're wrapped around as an inclined plane on a centripetal object, which is the screw itself. So the screw is an inclined plane wound around a central cylinder, as I was just saying. So we have our cylinder, an inclined plane. So different examples here. We have the threads, a jar lead, drill bit. They're all kind of similar. So mechanical advantage of a screw can be calculated by dividing the number of turns per inch. A video here. We would watch that in class. However, though, we're going to look at efficiency here. We said that the input force times the distance equals the output force times distance, or input force times distance is equal to output force times distance. However, some output force is lost due to friction. The comparison work input to work output is called efficiency. No machine has 100% efficiency, and the big reason here is due to friction. Everything is going to have friction, okay? So we have two things of practice questions here. There are answers. I will go over these practice questions. I'll see if I want to post it today on Wednesday, or I will post it tomorrow on Thursday. I think I'll likely post how to solve these. The answer key's already there, but then that way you can see how this was calculated. All right. So take some time, do these practice questions, 6 practice questions for you to do, and then there will be solutions posted tomorrow. This video turned out to be really quick. Have a great day, and we will catch up with you when we hear from you. I will try to have some sort of formative assessment here before the weekend. And then I think we'll have an assignment that'll be released tomorrow or Friday. Have a great day, stay safe, and we'll catch you later.